Warning: the video you are about to view contains delicate information that has been passed down for generations. Some viewers may consider this information to be disturbing or even terrifying. Viewer discretion is advised. Since the dawning of man, we have been intrigued by spiritualism. We know about priests and how they worship the Holy Father and the Holy Son, celebrating the Last Supper and honoring He who had died for our sins. But when we look at the time before, there was already talk of spirits, devils, ghosts, and ancestors watching over us. Native American shamans would use incense, for example, to exorcise dark energies from their people by a process called smudging. They knew that there is more to our world than the physical eye can see.
I'm not crazy. I've been here and shit.
The map board your artwork mounted to.
To determine our course of action at an encounter, we will need to pay close attention to the entity at hand. The safest thing to do, without drawing too much attention to yourself, and yet to better understand what kind of entity you're dealing with, is to classify the being. And so we start off with 3 classification types. Attachment, telling us what does it haunt. Behavior tells us how it reacts towards the attachment. And manifestations, which tell us more about the intentions of the entity. Now, let me explain this in a little more detail. The attachment only carries 2 attachment classifications. When the entity follows around a specified person or an item, we classify it as personal attachment, like a haunted doll or the possession of a person. When the entity is found at a location like a house or an old asylum or a forest, we classify it as environmental attachment. Every entity carries a certain behavior towards the attachment, and so we have 3 subtypes in the behavioral classification. Protective, when the entity functions as a warning or protection to the attachment. Possessive, when the entity functions to claim, destroy, or manipulate the attachment. And haunting, when an entity only shows that it is bound to the attachment. These subtypes carry the actual classification for the behavior. The protective subtype has 2 classifications. A guardian, that protects and or guards the attachment from being violated, or a guide. Now, guides are a bit of a different story, but basically they either point towards the attachment or point for their attachment. The possessive subtype can either classify as incubus, where the attachment is attacked, manipulated, and/or claimed directly, or as succubus, where the environment is used to attack, manipulate, and/or claim the attachment. The haunting subtype can either classify as unguided, where the entity is bound to the attachment and got lost or stuck, often ignorant of his or her death, or they classify as intelligent, where the entity is aware of his or her surroundings and situation and tries to establish contact through or with the attachment. Then finally there's 3 manifestation classifications. An oral, when the entity is of a warm, kind and loving nature. The apparition may be both somewhat negative or somewhat positive, but really means no intentional harm. The chaotic are those of an obvious, aggressive and/or destructive nature. And now that we know this, let me ask you something. Are you ready?
Alright, I'm recording this video to prove to you guys I'm not crazy. I am seriously hearing stuff. I mean, it sounds like it's coming in from upstairs. I don't know where, but I can definitely hear something. Sounds like someone's beating something upstairs. It's after 4 o'clock in the morning, and this is about the time I start hearing stuff. It gets really weird. Let's listen for a second. Actually, let me light a cigarette while we're listening. I know we're gonna hear something here soon. There is shit going on here. I know we'll hear something. Did you guys hear that shit? Right there above us. Something. I don't know what it was, but something loud. This place is fucking creepy. I don't know. I know I'm not crazy. I've been hearing shit. Alright. Did you guys just see that? If you want me to leave you alone, give me a sign, and I'll just go to sleep. And you guys do your own thing. Just let me know. Whoa! Alright, I hear shit too.
So basically you are safe if you only determine the subtype and haven't established contact. Here, give it a try. Pay close attention as the entity waves its arm in front of the camera. Meanwhile, somewhere else in the hotel, in the meantime, something else is going on in the bar. Keep a close eye on the waitress leaning on the bar table. Did you see it? I'll show it to you one more time, a little closer. Because even if every video I use would be a hoax, I would still tell you, they're out there.